Hello, everybody, and welcome to the World Monologue Games Regional Finals livestream info session. It is great to have you with us. I can see there's a few people on the stream, so thanks very much for joining us live, and hello to those people who are watching later. My name is Pete Malicki. I am the creator of World Monologue Games, and I'm really happy to have you with us. So we've got a fair bit of stuff to get through in this info session today. Might take about 45 minutes up to an hour just to get through everything. But it's really important that we cover all of this ground to make sure that everybody's on the same page and you know what the requirements are for this stage of the event, because we just want to make sure everybody has a smooth experience. Nobody gets disqualified. We absolutely hate that. It does happen from time to time because people haven't paid attention to how the event works, especially when they're new, and then they do something that doesn't work, and yeah, that's a really bad outcome. I can see everybody in the chat. I can see the chat for now. I can't always see the chat while I'm streaming because there's lots of things on my screen, so it's nice to see all of you guys. Hello to everyone around the world. Let's dive on in and try to get through this in a timely fashion. First of all, guys, a huge congratulations for making it to the regionals. This is our 5th season, and every year the event is truly getting better and better. I was actually going through all of our old submissions last week. I probably looked at 1,500 of our old submissions. Just for a few seconds each, mind you. Some of them I watched, and it's really amazing to see that the standard of the event has actually increased over the years. In some ways, it kind of doesn't make sense because it's not like actors around the world are getting better, but I think people are watching World Monologue Games and seeing what works and what doesn't, and we're getting better. So it's a huge achievement to actually make it into the regionals. Congratulations. We're very happy to have you with us. Now, World Monologue Games, you may have seen in the media, sometimes gets called the Olympics for actors. I just realized this second that that is quite appropriate given that the Olympics has just started. So we've got our own little Olympics over here for you actors. That's really cool. And look, something that we really hope is that you get to be part of the community at the Games, and you get to meet other actors from around the world. We've seen lots of connections made. And we've even seen some things like castings, including feature film castings that have come from people who've participated in the game. So that's really, really great. Make sure you follow us on socials, follow each other, subscribe to this YouTube channel, send chat messages, leave comments, and we often see the actors getting to know each other and supporting each other and building those connections, and you never know what can come of that. So we strongly encourage you to get involved. It's really lovely to see people saying hello from different parts of the world in the chat. It's just so goddamn cool that we've got people from like all around the world with us live. I just love it. So thank you so much. If you haven't seen our judges page, you would not be aware possibly that we have quite a lot of casting professionals on our judging panel. We have about a dozen casting directors, including one who has won 3 Emmy Awards and been nominated for a total of 8. So that's quite amazing to have somebody of that level watching World Monologue Games and, you know, getting to see you guys. We also have quite a few producers, including a new judge this year who's a producer of a $30 million feature film that's currently in pre-production, I believe, as well as lots of amazing people from different countries, including heads of acting schools and producers and filmmakers, and just a really amazing panel. So one of the best things about the Games is that you're getting seen by some of the best industry members literally in the whole world. I mean, it's hard to beat a 3-time Emmy-winning casting director, in my opinion. So I'm going to run through all of this info now. I can see some questions coming in. It is hard for me to read these in real time while I'm talking. I might go to questions at the end. So feel free to put them in the chat and I'll try to look at them while I'm talking if I can. But we'll do questions at the end mostly. So just a little bit about us and the company. So we actually, my wife Lisa Nguyen and I run World Monologue Games together, but we also run Undo Redo Entertainment, which is an entertainment company that has brands in arts, entertainment, book publishing, and IT of all things. So we actually run something like 6 or 7 different businesses through Undo Redo, World Monologue Games being our most significant entertainment-based business. So we do quite a lot of things. We have a long background in the entertainment industry. I've run major festivals and I'm a writer and filmmaker who's had work staged and produced in about 30 countries. Now, that's a bit about me. So with World Monologue Games, it's just me and Lisa are the only people who are on the staff of the event. We do have another team member who helps out with design and some operational stuff. And of course, we have our judging panel and somebody who does quality assurance of the videos and a few other different people. So it's mostly Lisa and I, but we do have some other support in our team. It takes hundreds of hours of our year to run World Monologue Games. And this event actually costs us money. And I'm not saying that because I'm asking for money or anything like that. It's just important context to understand that we're essentially volunteers doing this. And we still run a very professional event. But do bear in mind that it's a lot of our year goes into making this happen because we believe in providing a platform for creative artists, especially those who don't normally get a platform from those parts of the world where they're not kind of connected to the mainstream industry really at all, and giving those people exposure to, our judging panel really gets us out of bed every day. So, yep, that's a little bit about our background. Let's dive into the regional finals. We have performers from 39 countries, I believe it is this year, in the 2024 World Monologue Games regionals. There's over 250 performances, 254, I think, across 18 shows of the regionals. We have 6 categories at the games, but this year we are not doing the sprint category at the regionals. In short, the sprint category just hasn't attracted as many entries as the other categories. It's a 45 to 60 second monologue, and it's just not been the most popular one, quite frankly. So we could have run 2 shows in the regionals this year, but we decided to just cut it down to the best 20 who have gone straight into the global finals. So we actually only have 5 different categories in the regionals. We'll see sprint as our 6th category in the globals. Please be aware that we are based in Sydney, Australia, which is the opposite side of the world to most of the world. So it's very difficult for us to manage time zones. There is never a time when we can run an event that suits everybody in the world. We obviously have to be available for our events for pretty obvious reasons, but even if it's a YouTube premiere and not a live stream, we still have to be moderating it and making sure everything's going smoothly. So we do have to set the events at times which makes sense for Australia, so either our morning, day or evening, but not in the middle of our night. And sometimes the events just aren't at a great time for you, the participant. So I do want to apologise if you're scheduled for a show at 3 a.m. your time. It's just one of those things that's a bit difficult to avoid. If you are wondering when the dates are for the regional finals, you can see these dates on our website. Maybe Lisa will put a link to the regionals. Actually, the timeline would be better. So on our timeline page, we have the key dates for the regionals as well as all of the dates for the globals. And if you scroll down a little bit, there is a link to the regional finals lineup of 2024, which shows you the dates and the times and who is being included in each of the 18 regionals shows for this year. So have a look at that timeline page. It's very easy to find from the World Monologue Games homepage, and then you can click on the link to the regionals page. Let's spend a little bit of time now going through the rules and requirements of your regional finals submission. So, what monologue is being performed? You are performing a new version of the monologue you submitted to the qualifying round. Now, it's really important to be aware that some people choose to submit multiple entries. We've given everybody one free entry, but you can pay for additional entries. Some people have submitted sometimes 3 or 4 or 5, or I think we've had 8 in 1 year or something, submissions. So the judges actually review every single submission that comes in, and they have picked what they believe to be the best performances to go through to the regionals. So if you've submitted 2 monologues, you don't get to choose which of those 2 goes through. The judges pick, and this is why we don't allow people to switch their monologue. Once it's been selected, you need to use that same script, that same monologue all the way through to the global finals if you are lucky enough to make it there. So if you check the email that came from that's come from us, we've sent several by this point, and they actually have the link to your YouTube qualifiers video, your initial submission. So if you've submitted multiple monologues, then you can just check those emails and it will tell you, it has that link so you can see which one is going through. That also refers to the times and the dates if you have more than one monologue selected. I think this year, in some years we get a few monologues by the same performer in the same category and we split them into 2 different shows. We've done that a few times. I don't think we've done that this year. So if you were in, say, the main professional category for the Australia region, that's the only event that you'll be in the main professional category this year. So just double check the emails to see which ones of your performances have made it or have not made it to the regionals. So we send a separate email for every entry. We want you to do a new version of the monologue for a couple of reasons, because, a few interesting reasons, I think. Like, first of all, this is a competition, so we want to be able to see that you can bring your best stuff more than once. Sometimes people spend a lot of time preparing their monologue and it's something that they're really happy with and they submit it. But they can't really replicate it. Sometimes it was just like one of those amazing performances where everything goes right and then you just can't really ever beat it. So we want to make sure that that's not the case. We want to make sure that if you're progressing to the regionals and then to the globals, that you have to keep doing great performances, not just doing one great performance and working with that. We also promise our audiences fresh material that they've never seen before at any of our events, and that is super important. At the end of the day, if we didn't have viewers, World Monologue Games would mean nothing. We get pretty good viewers. We tend to get between like 1,000 and 2,000 for each show, sometimes a little bit less, but sometimes we've had over 5,000 views, and that's actually pretty significant. That's quite a lot of people who are actually tuning in to each of these events. And so we want to make sure that they keep coming back and watching the event. And if they start to see performances they've already seen before, they don't come back. They don't watch the event. So it's crucial that we're giving them something new every time. Because if no one's watching, then we don't attract the same judges, and then we're not getting the same exposure. And it's like, what's the point? We don't want to do this if only 20 people watching the event. It's not that valuable. So there are a couple of reasons why we do require you to do new performances. And even for the youth and tigers categories, we require you to submit your videos as unlisted. And we do that for child protection reasons, just to make sure that nobody is forced to make their videos public. But we don't prevent you from sharing those videos at the qualifiers stage if you want to share them. In the regional final stage, you cannot share your videos. Please do not show them to anyone. They need to be seen for the first time during the event, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. Now, in terms of the way that you do the monologue at the regionals, it does have to be the same script. You can make maybe very minor changes, but if it's more than like one word, we don't allow script changes. Basically, we want to make sure that it's the same script being done each time, because we don't want people to start turning it into a different monologue in between each round. If you do have changes that you feel like you really need to make, please email them to us for our approval. So send the original version that you did at the qualifiers, and then the version that you want to do for the regionals. Again, it can only be like a really small, like it's just a couple of words. If you just paraphrase a couple of words, or maybe like 4 or 5 words in a row at the most, but we really do require you to perform the same monologue each of the way through in each round. You can reinterpret your performance. What we don't want to do is start saying, well, you got really angry at this part last time, and this time you just seem sad, so we're going to disqualify you, or anything like that. We allow you to interpret your performance each time however you want to do it. Most people do a performance which is fairly similar, and I think that's a good thing most of the time. But sometimes people do quite different performances each time. And that's also, that can be great if your different interpretation works, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the judges like the way that you did it the first time, and sticking with that and just trying to improve it can be the best thing to do. But it is up to you. In terms of set, costumes, props, setting, even all of that stuff, you can do whatever you like with that. So if you perform it inside, you want to go outside, if you want to change change what you're wearing, you can do all of those things. That's totally fine. You don't need to contact us if you're changing those details. The same time limits apply as for the qualifiers. So we always have to disqualify, I don't know, about 10% or 15% of the submissions we get to World Monologue Games, because people don't read the rules. We don't want to do that for you guys at the regionals. That's why we're running this info session. We want you to pay attention to the requirements so that you don't get disqualified. They're really important to make sure that the event runs the way it's meant to run, and that everybody's playing on an even playing field. If some people have different rules than others, it could be an unfair advantage. So we just make sure everybody has the same follows the same rules, and then that's the best way to make it fair. So with the time limit, make sure you carefully check the time limit of your category. You might have done a 2 minute 20-second performance in the main amateur, main professional, or youth categories, or tiger categories in the qualifiers, and then your next performance just takes a bit longer and it comes in at 2 minutes 40. you will be disqualified. We will never broadcast something, a performance, which is shorter or longer than the category. So make sure you look up the limits of your category. It's 1 to 2.5 minutes for Tigers, youth, main amateur, and main professional. It's 5 to 8 minutes for endurance, and sprint is 45 to 60 seconds. So please make sure your video is within those time limits. If you upload it to YouTube, if it's exactly on the limit and YouTube shows 1 extra second, that's the only scenario where we will give you a bit of leeway, because sometimes YouTube rounds the videos up or down in a funny way. But don't rely on that. Make sure that it is within the time limit, and then we don't have any issues. Please don't cut or edit your video. Of course, you can cut the beginning, so we don't need to see you like going and reaching for the camera at the start. That's obviously, whoa, overexposed. There we go. The lights take a moment to sort themselves out. Yeah, like we obviously don't need to see that, but no cuts in between. So it's a one-shot event. You cannot use multiple cameras, multiple camera angles. We want to see that you can deliver a performance all in one go. If you go on stage, you might be performing 2 hours all at once with no cuts and changes and edits. Very different to film. So that's kind of what we're replicating here. We want to see you do consistent work with no breaks. Something people do sometimes is they give us a video where they finish their performance and then they cut it really abruptly. You don't need to do that, guys. You can leave a moment at the end, because sometimes it's just weird, like it's just too abrupt. You finish your performance and then like it snaps to black straight away when it doesn't feel right. Sometimes a blackout does feel right, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you want to let that moment at the end sustain for a couple of seconds, and we can't do that if you don't give us the footage. So it's fine to leave a little moment at the start and at the end so that we can do that. Our editing team will do that for you. Please do not add any music. Do not add any sound effects. We don't allow that stuff. Don't do any post-production. If for example, the light level's really low when you film, yeah, you can lift the light level. If the sound's low or if there's static, you can clean the sound if you know how to do that. That's fine. We do make those corrections. We try to clean the sound as much as we can. And if the light's really bad, we might make some minor changes, but you can't do anything more than that. So don't put any effects or filters on. Don't do black and white. Just all of that. Don't do these things. It's purely an acting competition. We really want this to be about you and your acting, and that's it. Our judges are explicitly told not to judge the audiovisual quality, and they don't. They only look at the acting. So if you're in costume in a beautiful setting in a studio, you will be judged the same as if you addressed more plainly in just a living room, because we want this to be about the acting. I mean, it's great if it's something that the viewers can enjoy, if they can see, you know, costumes and that kind of stuff. We do like that, but be aware that that's not part of what the judging revolves around. It's a pure acting competition as much as we can make it so. In terms of the audio-visual quality, this is something we also don't judge you on. So we're trying to make this as equal as possible for everyone around the world. So if you don't have the money to buy beautiful camera and lighting kit and microphones, you won't be punished. But of course, you want to do the best that you can. And if the viewers and the judges can't really hear you properly, that's really going to impact how they vote for you. And if they can't see the expressions on your face, that as well, it's part of acting, right? We need to look at you. We need to listen to you. That's how we can appreciate a performance. So do your best in terms of the AV quality. It can only help, but be aware that it's not part of the judging requirements. When you upload your video to YouTube, please make sure it is unlisted. This is critical. If your video is public, we can't use it because we're promising people content that they've never seen anywhere else. if it's public, anybody can see it. So we won't use it. Please put it as unlisted. Whether you're an adult or under 18, make sure it is unlisted at this stage of the event and leave it on YouTube until after your event finishes streaming, because we may need to access it for some reason. Make sure you use the naming convention. If you look at the description of this video, you'll see that there's a naming convention in there for you. Your category, space, dash, space, your name, space, dash, space, your country. That just helps us keep all of our video files in order, because we get over 250 files and we have more than one person doing the editing. So if it's not using that naming convention, we lose the files, or we have problems. So it's really important that you do that. Just check the emails, check the website, check the description of this video. I forgot to say, make sure your video is unlisted and not private. If your video is private, we can't access it. YouTube is absolutely horrible at permissions. So when you make something private and you give someone a share link, it just doesn't work properly. So we just don't do that. Make sure it is unlisted, and that means anyone who has the link can see it, but no one else can. So if you don't give the link to anyone else, no one else can find that video. Unlisted, unlisted, unlisted. In terms of your previous performance that you did for the qualifying round, please leave it on YouTube. It is really important that the team is able to access that video to make sure that you're actually doing the same monologue, for example, or that you haven't changed the dialogue. Sometimes we'll go and look and go, oh, looks like Jane has changed a whole section here. We're going to have to contact her and say we can't use that video. It's ineligible. You're going to have to film another version. We hate doing stuff like that, guys. It's annoying for us. It's kind of like you get a little bit worried that people are going to get really upset. And it's really bad for you because you might be disqualified. And that does happen from time to time. People are not paying attention. They didn't realize that they weren't allowed to change the script. They do something totally new. And then we say, hey, we can't accept that. We can't use it. That's such a bad outcome for everybody. So please don't do that. In what it was, hang on, give me a sec. No, I already said that. Okay, so in terms of how you submit, pretty easy. We've got a link to the regional final submission form on our member site. So if you log in, there is a block at the top of the page which says click here to go to the regional submission form. Be aware that we still have in the top navigation, in the header, a link to the submission form for everybody, and there's nothing on that page. So make sure you find the link that is on the member homepage, or it's in every email that we send. So we've sent it already 3 times, I think it is. So just find one of our emails and click the link, and once you're logged in, it'll take you directly to where you need to go. So the deadline is on Wednesday, the 14th of August at 11:59 p.m. That is Sydney, Australia time, please bear in mind. So again, we are in one time zone. We have to set a deadline at some point. It is the same for everybody, so you don't get extra time if you're in the west coast of the United States, which is 16 or 18 hours behind Australia. Everybody's deadline is at the same time. So it's midnight for us on Wednesday, the 14th of August. That could be early morning for you on the 14th of August. Or it could be 10 p.m. or it could be 3 p.m. So make sure you check the time zone. Something to be really aware of is that the time zone actually changes in the middle of the season. So we are currently at Australian Eastern Standard Time, and we changed to Australian Eastern Daylight Time mid-October. And that actually puts us out of sync with Queensland, which is, vertically the same as Sydney. So it's very, very confusing. But it's really easy to figure it out because we have a countdown timer that tells you exactly when the deadline is on the website, so that should make it pretty easy to figure out. And in terms of things like the events, they're all set at AEST as well. If you're ever unsure, just click on the link to YouTube, and YouTube will tell you what time that event starts in your time zone. Now, if you are under the age of 18, or if you are a parent or guardian of someone under the age of 18, you need to give us your consent to broadcast your video, or the video of your child, I should say. So if you're under 18, your parents need to do it for you, because you can't give yourself consent. Why? Well, obviously, for child protection reasons, we need to make sure that if you are getting involved in World Monologue Games and we're going to broadcast you, that you have parental consent for us to do that. So we have all parents' details, and we have already emailed you a consent form. You won't be able to submit till you've done that anyway, but check your emails if you're a parent. When you signed up, or when your child signed up, they have put your name and email address into the form. So make sure you check your emails if you haven't already seen this. Check your spam folder. Sometimes our emails go to spam. It's quite annoying for everybody, especially us. But yeah, that you just click a link and you fill out a form on our website to give your consent. You just have to write a statement saying, I give permission for my child to be broadcast in World Monologue Games. We've written something for you. You can copy and paste it if you like. But yeah, please do that. And then you'll be able to submit once you've given the consent. If you don't do it, we send a reminder. I can't remember exactly whether it's a week out from the deadline. Maybe it's about a week, and then maybe another one 3 days out from the deadline, something like that. All right, I am now going to talk about the judging. So we have judges, a judging panel, and be aware that not every judge puts their details on our website. They don't all want to share who they are, and we have some amazing judges who we don't name because they just chose not to share their links and their bios and their pictures. But you can see a lot of our judges on the website, and they vote on every show. We also have viewers who vote as well, and I'll explain how the voting works for you now. The judges pick their top 3 performances from any one show. So every show is judged independently. We have 18 shows. Each one is just judged independently. It's not the same judges on every show. We have a panel, and they choose the shows that they're available to judge. But for each show, we'll have a team of judges who review the entire event, and they select their top 3 performances. Their first place gets 3 points. Their second place gets 2 points. Their third place gets 1 point. And quite simply, we just add up the number of points from the judges, and whoever has the most points goes through to the global finals. Viewers also vote. We have links to a voting form via Google Forms, and each person votes for their top 2 performances from the show. It's not a first and a second, it's just an equal vote of their top 2. And we add up all of those votes, and sometimes we put the viewer's favorite through, but sometimes the viewers work as a judge in the aggregate. So what I mean by that is, say for endurance, we put the top 2 judges' votes through to the globals from each of the shows, and the viewers, we add up all of the votes from the viewers, and whoever wins the viewers' vote gets 3 judges' points, and whoever comes second gets 2 points, whoever comes third gets 1 point. So in that sense, they act as collectively as one judge. And the reason we've done that is just to make sure that the judges' points carry more weight, because that's just fairer. We want to make sure that the viewers stay involved. It's really important that they have a way of being involved. It's a big incentive for them to get excited by the event, but we don't want to make it just an internet popularity contest. So we've done a few things to try to prevent that as much as possible and strike the right balance between keeping them involved and excited and not giving them too much of a say in the outcome. Please be aware that you are allowed to vote for yourself in the viewers' vote, but do not vote for yourself twice. Do not do it. We catch so many people doing this. We catch so many people. You will be disqualified if you try to vote for yourself twice. If one of your friends or family or just a random viewer votes more than once, we will remove their votes. We get information on the voting form that can help us tell when it's one person trying to vote twice. Please do not do it for any reason ever. Do not vote more than once. And another really, really important point is to never share the link to the voting form directly. So the thing we want to do is make people watch the event. If you share a link to YouTube, to where the event is, people have to click on that, and then there's a link to the voting form in the description of the video. Actually, what we found is that people stay and watch the show. So even if they really just want to come in and vote for their mate, they tend to stay and watch the event, which is really great. That's a big part of what we're trying to do is obviously give you guys an audience so that people can become familiar with you and your acting. So if you send a link directly to the voting form, then people never even see your performance, and then they're just voting for you because they're your friends, and that's totally pointless. So if you share a link to the voting form directly, you will be instantly disqualified. Do not do that for any reason. Do not post it on your social media. Don't take a screenshot of it. Super important, guys. Please do not take a screenshot of it. Don't email it to your friends. This comes back to us. We get screenshots sent to us. We've had emails forwarded to us. Please don't do it. It's bad sportsmanship, especially during the Olympics. Come on. But it harms everybody, because if people start sending a link directly to the voting form, they don't actually watch the show. And then again, what's the point? So I'm sorry if I sound harsh and I'm talking about the rules and don't do this, but we're doing it to make sure that the event is as valuable to everybody as we can make it. And that's just one of the things which we're really strict on. So please share the link to YouTube to where your event is, but do not share the link directly to the voting form. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We kind of explained this during the results, but just so you're aware now that if a performer wins the vote from the audience and the judges' choice, then we put the judges' choice first. So if I'm Pete Malicki and I come first place in the judges and first place in the viewers, I go through as the judge's choice rather than the viewer's choice. And then for the viewer's choice, we'll put in the second place. Let me talk about how progression to the global finals works. So I am going to switch my screen around and let's have a bit of a run through this here. So what we're looking at is how many performers go through from each show, and who's selecting them. Is it the judges? Is it the viewers? I should say that this could potentially change, guys. So if we have some people who don't submit their regional entry or they get disqualified, then these numbers might be a little bit different. That does happen from time to time. So this is subject to change. Please be aware. So in the sprint category, there's no regionals. We just have the global finals show, as I have said. In the endurance category, we have 3 different shows, and we put in the judges' top 2. As I mentioned earlier, the viewers count as just 1 judge. So if we have 7 judges for that event, the viewers is our 8th judge, and they get, the first place gets 3 points, etc., etc. So we'll put the top 2. That means maybe the viewer's favorite doesn't even go through in endurance. but the viewers always make a difference. I've never seen a show where the viewer vote hasn't been a factor. Like it might change who comes fourth and third and who gets through to the globals. It really does matter, even if it looks like they don't have much of an influence. They always do. So we put 6 people through to the endurance globals. In the Tigers category, we are running 3 shows, and we are putting the top 4 judges' choice and the viewer's favourite from each of those shows. So we have 15. In youth, we have 4 shows. We put it through the judges' top 3 and the viewer's favourite in each show. So 16 people go through. And in the main amateur category, we have 3 shows, top 4 from the judges and the viewer's favourite, 15 going through to globals. And the main pro, which is our biggest category and our most competitive category, we have 5 shows, and we put the judges' top 3 and the viewer's favourite from each of the shows. So there are 20 performers in the globals from that category. So let's talk about the globals now. We'll have another info session for the global finalists. So I'll go through the finer details closer, but be aware that it is, again, the same monologue. It's the same performer and it's the same script. The globals are live streamed. The regional finals are YouTube premieres. From a process perspective, from the perspective of what you guys have to do, it's pretty much the same. You have to still submit your video in advance, and our team edits it together into a nice, tidy show with smooth transitions and good sound and fade-ins and fade-outs and titles and stuff. But with the globals, we live stream that show, and we do that because the viewers can't tell the difference. It feels like they're watching it being performed in real time to them, whereas it's actually pre-recorded, but they don't know it. So don't tell the viewers. It sort of spoils the movie magic for them a little bit. But anyway, that's what we do. So it is live stream, but you still submit your videos in advance. We actually have a bunch of dates on the regional finals submission page. If you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, you will see all of the dates for the global finals, like what's the deadline for your submissions. And that deadline is different depending on your category. What's the date of your performance? When are the winners announced? That information is already available for you. And just the dates of the shows, you can see them if you go onto the timeline page, and Lisa put a link into the chat a little while ago. It's still there. That is the global finals. I'm going to talk about publicity for a few minutes, and I should just say that we're making good time today. I think I've probably got about maybe 10, maximum 15 minutes to go. So if you have questions, maybe start putting them in the chat now, and I'll answer them when I get to the end. So with publicity, we have written a media release to try to help you get some publicity, some media. We've had over 250 stories run in 27 countries in the 5 years of World Monologue Games. And we get a really good response. We find that most people who complete a media release and send it to their local newspaper or local radio station, maybe not most people, but quite a lot of people are getting a story run. So this is a really great way to get some exposure and to have something that looks really impressive. When the media runs a story, then it looks really great. It's really good for your profile. We've even had TV, so thank you to Drama Academy this year. You guys are legends. We love you. Thanks for being involved. It is an honor, by the way, to have all of you with us. So we had the head of the academy on TV in Egypt, which is super exciting, and we've had TV in Australia and the Philippines and maybe some other countries that no one told us about. You never know. That does happen. So basically, you can get the media release that's in the emails, or it's on the regional final submission page. And all you have to do is just put your details in there. So it'll just say, when First Name heard the news that they were in the regional finals, and you just write your name in there. So we've made it really, really easy for you. You can just fill in those blanks and then send it to your media outlet. You can write your own media release if you want to. We won't stop you doing that, but we've just tried to make it as easy as possible. So my advice would be to do this, to call your local newspaper or your local radio station and just to say, hi, my name's Pete. I'm an actor and I've been selected for the regional finals of this major acting event called World Monologue Games. Would it be okay if I sent you a media release? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes and give you an email address. Then send it through to them. And if they don't respond to you, give them like another phone call in about a week, or even a follow-up email, and just say, oh, hi, I just sent this media release. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't land in your spam box. Journalists are usually quite polite. I've very rarely had experiences where journalists are rude to you. Sometimes they won't be interested, and that's just how the world is. But it's worth giving it a try, in my opinion. You can really have a good chance of getting some publicity, which is just a good thing. Let me talk about the prizes now. Actually, I can see some questions. I might just answer them quickly. Kathleen, you asked, is it okay to post your original submission on other platforms? Yes, you're very welcome to do that. You can promote it however you want at this stage, but do leave it on YouTube. That's one thing. I'm not sure if I said this, maybe I skipped it. You need to leave your qualifiers on YouTube. If you don't want people to see it, put it on unlisted, but do not remove it and do not make it private. We have to be able to see it, just in case we need to check something. So leave it there until after your regional show, please. You can make it public if you want to share it. You can share the video on other platforms. That's fine. If you're under the age of 18 and your parents give you consent, you're very welcome to make that video public now if that is your decision. Let me continue with the next section, then I'll come back to these questions. In terms of prizes, we do have cash money prizes for our winners, which is really exciting. If you have been involved in the games before, we've had more cash prizes in previous years. This is not the lowest the cash prize has been, but we've had bigger prizes before. And that's simply because we were able to get a major sponsor one year who gave us a very generous donation of cash for the prize money, and we're not able to get that same sponsor this year or another sponsor to pay for this. We pay for the cash prizes ourselves out of our own money, and the entry fees that we collect from people who submit more than once or who submit late do not cover the cash prize money. So it does cost a bit of money, and I'm not saying that to be a dick or to try to say it's anything. Like, we're very happy to do it. We're proud to be able to do it, but we just wish it could be more. I guess that's what I'm saying. So let me just show you what the prizes look like. That's a summary. What? I'm pointing the wrong way. That's a summary right there. It's mirrored of how much cash you get for winning at World Monologue Games. This is referring to the global finals, not the regional finals. We don't give out $2,300 per show. My God, we would go broke. But if you make it to the global finals and you land on the podium, so you get the bronze or the silver or the gold at the Olympics for actors, these are the prizes you get. So our major prize is $500 cash for the main professional category winner. We have cash prizes for everybody who lands on the podium. So good luck. We are always happy to give you something nice if you win. Please be aware of a couple of things. You do need to have a PayPal account to be paid. We have to pay you via PayPal. If you're in Australia, and you land on the podium, which does happen sometimes, we get lots of Australians at World Monologue Games, we can do a bank transfer. We actually prefer it because then, well, it's better for you. Nobody loses fees to PayPal, which is always annoying. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. But just be aware that you might need to create a PayPal account. If you don't have one, it is free to do that. So that's the prizes. Getting close to the end. So guys, please put your questions in the chat. Someone's asked, in our stage, the video will be played to the judges and the viewers. Yes, that is correct. We have merchandise at World Monologue Games. So we have some nice t-shirts and hoodies, drink bottles, mugs, a few other things like that. You can grab some merch. We use a third-party merchandise site, so it's not us like printing the t-shirts and sending them. We use something. We use a service that does the merch. But they've been pretty good. So like we've never really had any issues. One person got an order mixed up once and they fixed it. So it's been pretty reliable, which is good. But you can get merchandise that says Regional Finalist on it, so everybody knows that you are a fantastic actor. So check that out if you'd like. I've put links in the emails about the regionals, and I have put the link on the regional finals submission page as well. I'm going to share some submission tips for you. I can see a question. Are submissions open? Yes, they are. You are able to submit your regionals video already, so feel free. Just some submission tips, some performance tips, rather. Probably the biggest thing that I would say, and by the way, I am a director. I've directed 65 plays, something like that, and a bunch of films and video content. It's your pace. This is one of the things where I see the most room for improvement. Pace and long pauses. Actors they like to have long pauses between their sentences. They finish their sentence and then they're just... And it's okay if you do it a couple of times, but if you're doing it in between every sentence, it can be very painful. Keep a good flow to it. I think something that we sometimes forget is that acting is made for viewers. It's made for audiences. That's why we do it. On one hand, when we're trying to be actors as a career, we do need to impress the casting directors and the producers and the directors. But ultimately, most acting is done to be in front of a movie or TV audience or a live audience, and they want to enjoy it. So I think if you think about how does the audience respond to this, is this going to be enjoyable for them? That doesn't mean it has to be comedic. Drama is fantastic for audiences, for viewers as well. But you should think about how will people respond to this. It's not about just demonstrating your skills as an actor. It's also about being entertaining and being watchable. So I think that's one tip. Try to keep the pace up and try to make it something that people will love to watch. When people love to watch it, that's the best way to do it. I can see a question has come in, the submissions page. It is open. If you join this stream late, go back to the beginning when it's finished and watch the whole thing, because there might be some tips on how to make sure it's there. Otherwise, email me if you have done everything and you can't see the submission form. You might need to do your parental consent form first. Otherwise, it should be ready. It is there. I have seen it there for lots of people. Some people have submitted, the people who've done World Monologue Games in the past, and they already know the process. So please check and then email us if you still have any issues. Back to the performance tips. Emotional variety, range is so important. Sometimes people do something really, really well, like they do anger really well, or they do like a sort of, a really deep emotion, pain or hurt or sadness really, really well, but that's all they do. And even for 2 minutes, it gets boring, guys. It does. There's something called the law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns. And what this is a rule that the more people see of the same thing, the less impact it has over time. So if I see someone doing like really angry, aggressive acting, it might be really interesting for 20 seconds, but I start to get used to it and I start to get bored of it. But if the performance changes, if they go from angry to shocked to sad to amused to something else, if it changes, that really can help make the performance much more interesting. So that's another tip to do. Try to make it go somewhere. Try to make it a bit of a journey. So it's not just one thing the whole way through. Maybe you need to go deeper. Sometimes we see someone is doing a sad monologue, let's just say, and they're sad, and then they're sad, and they're sad the whole time, but they don't go any deeper than where they started. So as well as emotional range, you've got emotional intensity. Those are two things that if you can mix those up, it can really, really help. And one other thing, I've sent an email about this earlier today along with the reminder. A few people, quite a number of people have already signed up to it. We do have a program called Audition Boost. If you're interested, it's a 14-day course run by one of our brands under Redo Entertainment, Arts Business Academy. Audition Boost is a 14-day course designed to work with one monologue and for you to do a new performance, to film a new performance every day for 14 days. Each day of the program, you get an email with some instructions and a video discussing how to do your performance differently. So it's going through a range of different exercises, and it's just a fantastic way to do a real big deep dive into one performance and to try to do the best performance you can with it. So check that out. If you're interested, you can do that. It's a 14-day course, so it means that if you start today, by the way, when you sign up, it starts at midnight that night and you have 24 hours each day. Then what am I saying? The course will still be going by the deadline. So I said this in my email. I think will be day 12 or something of the course. So you won't be able to do the entire course and then submit. You'll have to submit while the course is still going. But even if you do 5 days of it or 8 days of it or 10 days of it, it should still be really valuable. Ron, I see you've asked, do you get feedback? Look, that's not part of it, but I'm happy to do that for you, mate. So if you want to send me an email with 1 day's submission, I'll just do it for one. I'll have a watch and I'll give you a couple of bullet points. But it's not technically part of the program, but I'll do it for you, mate. Just a couple of other things. So guys, if you have any other questions, now is a really great time to put them into the chat because we'll be wrapping up in maybe 5 minutes. We have a ranking system at World Monologue Games, which is based on each category. So depending on how you do in the global finals or the regional finals, you get a certain number of points, and those points go towards your overall ranking. Those points are for 3 years, 3 consecutive years. So if you've done World Monologue Games a few years in a row, you carry over some of the points from your previous year. It's kind of a little bit like the tennis. You know how you can be ranked world number 1 or world number 23? We have that same kind of system here at World Monologue Games. There's a page on our website which shows your ranking. If you've participated before, we only show the top 100 performers, so not everybody is in the rankings. But that's something you can care about if that means anything to you. We do have people who are world number 1 and world number 2. I think it's pretty cool. But anyway, you can check that out. We also have an achievements program or a badges program where if you do certain things at the games, you can win a badge. So let's say we've got the finisher badge, which means if you submit 10 times, you get the bronze finisher badge. And there are some easy ones, relatively easy, like the finisher, just making 10 submissions over the years isn't that hard to do. And then there are some insanely difficult ones like reaching the global finals of all 3 categories in one season. I don't think that's happened yet. So yeah, there are easy badges and hard badges. You can check those out as well on our website if that's something you're interested in. You can give it a go. Try to get a badge. Ron, you have asked, are there these rules in text on the members page? Yeah, more or less. So fatality badge. I love it. I don't know what you have to do to win that. It's not Mortal Kombat, but anyway. Sorry, Ron, I was answering your question. Yes, the rules are on the regional final submission page. Not in as much detail as what I'm saying here, but pretty much everything that's important is there. If you've made it to this point in the stream, then I think you've already gone through everything, which is great. But yes, those rules are there. If they're not clear, please email us after you've tried to read them. Do remember that we are a small team basically doing this as volunteers. There's a very large number of participants. So we really appreciate it when you read the emails thoroughly and when you read the information on the website so that we don't have to answer the same questions that are already answered for you. But if you can't find the answer you need, please do approach us. I don't want to sound like we don't want to help you. We do. We just appreciate it when everybody puts in some effort. Any last questions? Now is a great time to put them in the chat because we're finishing soon. I have some random questions from people from previous chats, which I thought were nice. So someone asked, am I at a disadvantage if I don't have people vote for me? And the answer is honestly, a tiny little bit. Now, if you get the judges' votes, then you don't need the viewer votes at all. But sometimes the viewer votes do make a difference. And as I mentioned earlier, we have tried to minimize the impact that the viewer vote has because the judges they're industry professionals and their opinion should matter more, and it does at World Monologue Games. But, having fans is important. That's how some people become successful, is that they have a fan base and those fans support them and they go and watch their theatre shows and they go to the movies and that kind of thing. So, it matters a little bit. If you win the viewer vote, that helps. You might get straight through to the global finals, or it might give you some judges' points, but you won't need to do this. So if you don't share the event with anybody and none of your friends watch, or you don't have any friends, or you just couldn't be bothered, then you still have a very good chance through the judges. Most of the global finalists have been selected by the judges. We love it when you share the event. And what we really love the most is when people share the event and ask their fans and their followers and their family to support everybody. That's a really, really great outcome. And people do it. When you ask your fans to vote for you and nobody else, they tend to do that. But when you say, hey, there's some amazing actors, you guys should totally you should totally check them out and pick your favorite ones and I hope I'm your favorite, as your friend, lol, whatever. Then people tend to watch the events more. We see this through our analytics. So we love it. We love it when people show that sporting, that good sport attitude. It really helps make the event better for everyone. We like the fact that it's a competition because we think that's a good driver. But at the end of the day, we want it to be a community first and foremost. And that's what we've managed to achieve so far at the Games. It's a very community-minded place, which is wonderful. We don't have many bad sports who throw tantrums when they don't get selected. I wouldn't take them very seriously if they did personally. But anyway, that's another story. So good, that sort of good sportsmanship, good sportspersonship is what we really, really want. I think this other question, I don't think that's a good question. We've already kind of talked about that today, so I am going to skip it. Guys, this is your last chance to ask a question. If you have not asked a question and you want to ask it right now, there is a delay. As I'm saying this, it's 20 seconds before you see it. It's not a real-time live broadcast. It's 10 seconds delay. Sean, mate, hi, how you going? Is the top 100 a pretty high ranking for the main professional category? Yeah, absolutely. Because we get the most submissions for the main pro category, and it's the most competitive category. And we have people who are repeat customers, the people who are submitting every year, and we do carry points over 3 years. If you go onto the rankings page, you can see how we do the maths of that ranking system. Lisa's a data analyst as part of her profession, so we've got a pretty cool, sophisticated ranking system. But basically, the short answer is yes, it is pretty good. Okay, so I think that's about it. I'm just looking through and seeing if there's any other questions that I've missed. I can't see any at a quick glance. So I think that's it, guys. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you checking out the session. And once again, massive congratulations for making it through to the World Monologue Games 2024 Regional Finals. It really is an achievement to get here. It is a very competitive event. Lots of people submit. You are already the judge's choice of the best. So you should be proud to have made it this far. And, we're super excited to have you at the event, and wishing you all the best for the regionals, and good luck making it through to the global finals. I can see a couple of questions have come in, so I'll just answer them quickly and then I'll say good night or good day. Is there a way to know the total submissions in each category? We don't actually have those numbers published anywhere. Total submissions. Sorry, I was thinking the total number of people in the regionals. No, we don't announce the number of submissions. What I can say is that it's been over 5,000 submissions in World Monologue Games, but we don't announce those numbers, no, so sorry about that. We can't tell you exactly. Lots is the short answer. Where on the website can I find the press release form? You can find that in the emails that we've sent you about the regional finals. There's a couple of links in each of those emails, so have a look for that. Or if you go onto the regional finals submission page, we also have a link to the press release there. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. It's been a decent session already. It's been over an hour, so thank you very much for checking this out, and congratulations once again. It's really wonderful to have you and to be working with you at World Monologue Games. We're super excited to be sharing your work with our audiences. Please subscribe to this channel and tell your friends to subscribe to this channel. That gets more viewers for everyone. That's how we grow the event. That really helps. Otherwise, we'll see you around. And if you do have any other questions after watching this stream that I haven't answered, feel free to email us. We're very happy to help. We're usually pretty quick. Sometimes we're busy and it might take us a day or two, but we'll do our very best. And see you at the regionals. Ciao, ciao.